I will have a special guest a little bit later on today. But in the meanwhile, I want to share a couple of things with you. I will start with something we internally, but also externally refer to as frontier company. And I want to take you a little bit on a journey. What is a frontier company and how can my company become that? So, frontier company in our terminology is AI-driven company, secure AI-driven company that can use this technology super well to their benefit. So how does it look like? Is that AI is woven into the business across the entire organization. People, by people I mean employees or customers, are empowered to use it and then seeing the benefits. Processes are optimized with aim to become much more, to deliver value, so that your business will deliver higher value than yesterday, and you will innovate. You will differentiate yourself from the others. And that's what frontier company means. So today, when I look that I would be on the podium and I would have a pleasure to have one of our customers on the podium, we will try to answer questions of why AI matters to me. I will tell you why it matters to us. Hopefully, our customer will share the same thing. Then, where do I start? Did I start it to experiment with Copilot, with other AI tools? Did I test it? Can I scale it? What does it mean for my organization? So all of these things we will try to share with you. Let's see if it works, and it does. And I start with something super simple. We have a powerful study at Microsoft called AI Diffusion Report. It's super powerful because it studies 80 countries across the world and how they're using AI without providing information. It is anonymized, so we don't expose names, but it's based on real usage of data, real usage in your companies of AI. Within this report, where's Romania? 62 out of 147 in terms of usage of AI. Not bad. First half, you would say congratulations. I think it's not bad. But let me tell you why I believe that is. It was the boom, especially in Eastern Europe. We've seen a lot after AI started to become popular 2-3 years ago. Everyone personally started to use AI, started to experiment, check it out, trust it. And what happens there is specifically for the countries, us, I'm Eastern European as well, myself, that's why I refer to our countries as our countries. People were eager to explore and experiment. So, for example, Hungary is very highly positioned, Czech Republic, very highly from the European surrounding countries that we have in the near proximity. The leaders in AI adoption are United Arab Emirates, no surprise, Singapore, Norway, Ireland, France. Now, important fact is not how many people use it, but how do you diffuse it? How many more people use it every year at work to make them more productive and to drive value? And this is where we are lagging a little bit. On the bottom, you can see Romania is at 62nd place, but increasing year-over-year adoption is only 0.9%. So less than 1% every year. Whereas the leaders do it 4 times in average, year over year. So if we continue in Romania with the same pace of AI adoption, the differentiation between the leaders and the rest, we will just look from behind. So that is very important. And if you ask me, and also what does the report concludes is, what are the main factors that a country is so successful, like United Arab Emirates, Singapore, Norway, etc. What is it? Here are the 3 factors, the patterns. Early investment in digital infrastructure. AI skilling. Without gaining new skills and learning, you would not be able to implement, and changing also how you approach work, you will not be able to successfully implement AI. And government adoption. It's so hard in the companies to adopt AI if the governments are not supportive of it. So government has equal responsibility if they want to close the gap. And why are we talking about it? When I speak to governments, it's super clear. We have moved our expectations as citizens to quality of services, accessibility of services. We have increased our expectation during COVID. We want everything tomorrow, immediately, now. And we want it at high quality. And so that expectation has risen. Do you think we have much more skills around, laying around, to fulfill that expectation? We don't, and we never will have. That's where AI comes in. So it's a necessity to bridge the current gap between all of our expectation of healthcare quality, citizen services, whatever you name it, and having the skills and resources to be able to step up to those expectations. That's why AI becomes an absolute must. So I will share with you today, I normally do different presentation, but today I decided let me share how we do it in Microsoft. How I, Barbora, use artificial intelligence, why does it matter, how we as a company have embraced it. So first, let me share the framework a little bit. And that's where you start. And the question is, where do you deploy AI? Where do you start? If you're a company that, as an enterprise, you don't have AI in any shape or form, you're saying, where do I start? So what we say is what we also seen in the diffusion index, but also in our own company. We start in two segments. The first one is where you can gain the biggest value. So it's about value, it's about money. The second one is how can you most empower people, employees foremost, and of course customers. So in these two segments we have enriching employee experiences. This is so critical. 2 years ago, it was all about, I don't know if I want to do it if I'm a CFO, because you know what, I want to see the E2R to be ×5, etc. before I invest. Today it's a demand. All of us are using AI. You want to be as efficient at work as you are at home. So it's an absolutely reasonable demand. All of the youngsters coming out of universities expect that their employee will have the work automated, the meaningless for them work, that they will be able to contribute with their brains. So it's absolutely must to attract the new workforce and not allow that the smart people live abroad because we don't have companies that use AI. So, and that means personal assistant or an agent that helps you, equips you, so you don't have to do the tedious daily task like retrieving your mail and checking for something that you need to answer. This should be done at a fingerprint, at the click of a button. So that's the employee experiences. Customer engagement, of course. Customers expect flawless interactions. If I recalled the chats, the customer chats that certain airlines or banks used to have in the past, it was horrific. You immediately wanted to get to an agent to speak because it just wasn't high quality. That time has changed. We see with our customers that you can get to 60–70% of queries being done by artificial intelligence and agents only. So we want customers to have tailored service, quick service, and very advanced service. And AI is helping. Reshaping business processes. So this is exactly where you, first of all, are making the process is quicker, but of course as your business grows, you cannot hire more and more people constantly. You need to be able to digitize those processes. And bending the curve on innovation is, these days, what we see with those frontiers companies, those companies that are frontier, everyone innovates. Is we coming back to an era where people are hired to think with and alongside of AI, but it's not just, it's reasoning with. When I'm preparing for this conference, for the client meeting, for my meeting with my team, I reason with AI. It's not like I take the first thing that it says. And I use various tools. Not every single tool has all of the resolution, right? So ability for the companies to do new things that were never done before. Now, strange words, but if I have to describe Microsoft, we have two basic functions. The one that designed the technology and develop it, and the one that sells it. So I want to talk to you because I'm part of the sales organization, not the development organization. So how transformation globally at Microsoft, at the sales organization started AI transformation. So we have about 60,000 employees globally as a sales organization with millions of customers, 500,000 of partners, and 100 subsidiaries. Now, number one thing we looked at, and remember when I started to talk at the beginning, I said, how do we look, where do we start? Inefficiencies. And something that is very hard for the people, and they don't spend time on what they should. 70% of our sellers, we've done study, has spent time not on selling, on administrative tasks. So, and I bet you if you go into your organization, it will not be any different. In order to prepare, in order to have meeting after meeting after meeting, to come to a conclusion how we're going to deal with that customer, that is that 70% of the time. So we said, that's where we need to prioritize. We need to make our sellers more efficient. And the second one is, there is a research. There is a research done by Precedence company called Precedence Research that said that globally, the agentic market, so agents, in 2024 was $5.5 billion. In 2025, it was $7.5 billion. And now they're expecting, with the boom, that it will be $100 billion within 7-8 years. It's extreme opportunity. So how do you tap on that opportunity? How do you come closer to clients to experience the technology, to buy the technology, to start using it? So those were the two drivers for our AI transformation. So a little bit of use cases, and in each of those categories, let me share a little bit. So enriching employee experiences. We have embraced as a company, and it was not a simple journey, by the way, as everybody think that people are excited, to deploy Copilot everywhere, okay? And I have to tell you, one of the critical things we see with the customers and with myself and my teams is it's a change. So at the beginning, it's not like you will have the typical curve of innovation and adoption. It's you will have few people that will, of course, be the super users the next day. But then you will have people who says, nah, I know better. I don't want it. I don't want it. So it's a journey. It's a journey for everyone to understand how you use these new tools and then what you do with them. And how do you make it productive for you, not that you have to do it. And Copilot for us, after 1 year of using it, we can measure impact on sales growth, and we can do how much faster we are able to conclude a deal. But one that is not on there, and is probably the most important for me as a leader, is how much happier the people are with their work, because they don't have to do amount of work they don't like to do on a daily basis. The second one is we have a sales chat. Oh my God, did that change the way we operate? Sales chat, normally you would have to download a report, you will have to understand what your customer, in terms of technology stack, what they have, plan a meeting, see what you talked about last time. All of that I can get within minutes at a one click, but then you need to reason with it, ask deeper questions, etc. So that being able to get the knowledge of the company at your fingertip, so you don't have to. Normally, how my sales meeting would look like, I call several meetings, several people prepare, account executive prepare, then experts, technical experts prepare, so we can structure basic conversation with the board, and then prepare certain offer. Now I prepare by myself. Of course, because the technology has access. If I ask the agents, they have access to all of the meetings that my employees had between the customer. So I don't have to go and ask. It's wasted time. Of course I check, and it's always good to do. So I do my prep, then I get on the meeting with the team that cares for the client, and they give me additional insights that I couldn't find. But it's not the preps that we used to do before for ages. So between the copilot, that is your personal assistant, and you can reason with it on anything, and then specialized sales process that is infused with AI, the sales chat, and then every other agent that I'm using for HR to understand how do I go about awarding people this year, etc. It's fantastic, the guardrails built around AI, they will not decide for you. I get to the assessment of employees. My tools will tell me, my agent will tell me, I cannot assess your people, it's your responsibility. However, I will get data like I never had before, available for me to make the decision based on my experience observation, but grounded in data. So these, for me, even the first line, and that is my employee experience, have changed within the past year or so dramatically. How I used to prepare, how I used to judge, how I used to make decisions. All of that is now grounded in enterprise real-life data. Customer engagement and experiences. So we have a customer success team that looks after the success of the technology at the customer. And we see incredible, for example, around 12% is able to handle just by the agent. So our people don't have to come there. Now, also about 15% of time, the agent doesn't need any, and these are complex problems. When Microsoft support is needed, these are very complex problems. So 12% of times, no human is needed in that resolution. And that's, we're just starting on that journey. And then how much faster we are able to resolve, so the people are now able to spend time on those really, really critical situations is super important. And in our small, medium business, we have seen that based on the autonomous agents, they act, they prepare, they act, they do sales offers, that the conversion rate from lead to an opportunity is 13%, so that's done by the agents, whereas our team's success rate is 10%. So not only can you do more, it is more effective because the data is more relevant. Reshaping business processes. For example, in our case, quoting and negotiation is a very tedious process on creating a proposal, iterating that proposal, etc. So that one has the way we are able to embed artificial intelligence in the process, delivers significant velocity improvements and quality. The same in when customer buys something with us, we do also investments. Investments into consulting, investments into implementation, etc. That process used to take very, very long time, and it's much more simplified now. You can see 70% velocity improvement. And then, of course, we cannot forget, when you talk to your development teams, they love GitHub Copilot. I spoke to several clients here in the room. I don't know if I get to see them, and they exactly said, if nothing else, I really need this for my development team. Their productivity increases, etc. So this is what we have done. And now, to explain the approach that we took, and it's a process. Majority of companies, in our region, is at the first stage, human with an assistant, okay? That's when you have customer service representatives on the phones and they have an agent. So the best is if the conversation is recorded, so right away, live as you are, it searches the databases, the rules, the guardrails that your organization has, and comes up with recommendations, the old-fashioned, frequently asked questions that we used to have. But now it's provided based on live, in the requirement, in the call, or through the chat, is searching all of that for the best answers. So that is an assistant. Assistant for me is, I come, after 2 days being in Romania, I come back, or I'm on the plane, and I'm asking, what have I missed? Who needs what from me? That's a simple prompt that I do, saves so much time. Or preparation for a meeting, as I said. Customer meetings I do all the time. Of course I ask, but I use recording during the session. Immediately I get charts, recommendation, meeting minutes, recommendation, what I should follow up with, and you can select, is it too soon? Then you reason with it. So all of this is human with assistant. The next step is human agent teams. These are some of those that I name, I realize now, are agents already. So this is when, for example, we have an agent called researcher. I use that a lot, and I say, researcher, create with me go-to-market strategy. Executes by itself, okay? It brings to me, I judge, does it work for me? No, too expensive, no, etc. And the last one is human-led, agent-operated. This is when human sets direction. I will give you an example, but the entire process is executed by AI. So we have done this on AI skilling in our company. So the team of experts, the learning experts, they design, for example, we want every employee to go through a certain education and certification, and here is how the level of difficulty, here is the content from here to here. Everything is designed by the agent, communicated to the employees by the agent, tracked certification, reminder if you didn't do it. And then assessment, how many people have done it, where is the level of knowledge of AI in our company, because you finish the test, by the way, with the presentation, so there is an assessment of your applied skills. All of that is executed by agents, operated end-to-end. So human gives guardrails, expectation, desired outcomes, and the agent operates it all. So can it, for us at Microsoft, this doesn't happen step 1, 2, 3. It happens simultaneously. So it can be various in different companies, but for us, it's happening at the same time. So I already mentioned, I will rather skip this slide because I would repeat several use cases, and I want our customer to share their experiences with you on this. But I will finish with where to start. So, again, I would ask myself these questions if I'm in a company, or a manager in a company, or a CEO or a board member. Where are my sellers or the critical workforce? If your critical workforce is customer service, or if it's engineers, ask yourself, where are my sellers, engineer, customer service representative spending most of the time that is not core to their task? Like I was explaining, for sellers is to be with customers. That's the most effective time. Everything else is the ineffective time. So how can I lessen the ineffective time for that core purpose of the job so the person can excel at what they do? That's recommendation number 1. Recommendation number 2 is where usually is driven also by the relevant skills that you don't have and you don't have access. They are very expensive, or you have way too many people in that process. You will find that they are often interconnected, okay? So it's the billing department. How many hundreds of people we have in billing departments? That can today. That's exact place where you apply AI. The next one is areas of significant cost. Again, when something costs you too much and you need to, every year the CFO gives you a target to optimize by 20%. Some of us know that. But you come into an area where it's not 20%, it's 50. So in this case, you must redesign the process in a way, use artificial intelligence to do that autonomously. And processes where there's so many handoffs, that's a typical and bottlenecks, and it takes too long because there's many teams handing off. So that's a clear candidate that you can digitize and you can then embed AI to bring such an insight your organization never had before. So those are my recommendations. But I'd like to come now into second part of this presentation to make it even more real for you, and that is to bring on stage George Călinescu, CFO of Banca Transilvania. George, please come join me. I'll give you a mic. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Would you like to take a seat? I think it's better because we will stay for a long time.
Hello.
Welcome, George. I'm pulling out my, because you know what I do. I prepare, I told everybody I prepare for the meetings. So, of course, rushing into the meeting. Who is George Călinescu? So, of course, hold on, let me do the first search. You know what I'm going to tell you.
I can help you.
Tell me.
So, to me, being here for 35 years anniversary of PwC is very special because actually George Călinescu started his career as an intern in Coopers.
This George Călinescu?
Yes, this one.
Okay.
As an intern in Coopers and Lybrand 29 years ago.
Okay.
So I think I was the first and only intern back then. It was in 1997. Very small offices in Domnița Ruxandra, for the ones that remember those offices. It was a very nice start for me, and I will remember fondly my first years with PwC. So, well, after PwC, banking, and now currently in Banca Transilvania. I'm in my 13th year with Banca Transilvania, where we've done a lot of interesting things, growing the bank to be the #1 bank in Romania at this moment.
I'm assuming there's a lot of clients here, right?
Yes. I mean, with 5 million clients, if we take a sample here, I think we exceed our, let's say, market coverage because there is a certain kind of profile. I think that the audience fits it very well.
So let's check, because as I said, I'm driving in the car. I put, who is George Călinescu, and cultural education for me, literacy critic, and one of the most influential historian of the 20th century. So we're guessing that's not you.
No, not me.
So obviously, so then I go further, and then of course CFO at the Bank of Transilvania, and as you said, I will, there you were with ABN AMRO, Alpha Banca Romania, PricewaterhouseCoopers, as well as you just mentioned, right? So there's a lot of detail, and then there are recommendations for me what I should be talking to you about, right?
Oh my God.
So, but I will skip that. Yeah. But we spoke before, and during the conversation, what comes obvious to me, because when I'm on the stage with CFO, it's going to be usually a debate about profit and loss and risk. And the first words from you to me were, I'm not your typical CFO. Can you share why did you say that? And we can then open discussion about technology in Banca Transilvania, but why are you not a typical CFO?
Well, I'm not a typical CFO because besides having a classical training and let's say professional accreditation as a CFO would have, I'm also very interested in technology. This year I just finished my master's degree in computer science, so I am a very curious person and always learning about new things, and I encourage my teams to experiment and to implement new technologies to become better.
And this is very interesting from my experience dealing with large enterprise customers and their CFO. This is very unique, I have to say, and it's very much needed because CFOs are always also with CEOs key decision factor behind purchasing technology and making the investments, because there is at certain point an investment, and without having an understanding of the value and what it can bring is very difficult. So it's such a pleasure to talk about it. So let's go now step by step and share with everyone. I want to understand first project. Do you recall first AI project at Banca Transilvania? What was it? Tell us, describe to us. Was it difficult to get people on board? How was it?
Yeah, I think Banca Transilvania started experimenting with AI before it became like a mainstream and very interesting, let's say, phenomenon like we have it in the last years with Gen AI. And our first partnerships were with Microsoft, implementing chatbots that help our clients getting information on their either products or with certain situation that they encounter with their interaction with the bank. And it was in 2017. Okay. And we did it for the customers in 2017, and then in 2018 we implemented internal chatbots that used machine learning, natural language processing, robotics with WePath. Jonas was here a little bit earlier. We were partnering with them since back then, before they became sort of like a mainstream company and very prominent. And then we gradually arrived at a stage where we started implementing also Gen AI capability. And that was in 2023 when we launched our first, let's say, client-facing product, enhancing the Q&A section of our website, again for the clients with the Ask PT, let's say, chatbot based on GPT 4.0, I think, back then. Since then, we have a lot of collaborations. We have AI within the teams and the products that we use in either internally or client-facing. We have in BTP, which is the main application that we have for our individual customers, a chatbot that is used by millions of clients, millions of interactions. So, for example, when we introduced this Ask BT tool, we measured the statistics back then in 2023, and we had around, let's say, 30,000 clients with 100,000 interactions in 1 year. Now we reached a stage where measuring the year 2025, the interactions, like I said, we have more than 1.5 million customers interacting with the chatbot, and actually saving the time that they will spend going to the call center to solve some problems. I think our measurements show that 80% of the interaction result in a solution to their problems, and only 20% get to the next stage.
So you are on the higher end, what I was showing. So you are already 80% of customer queries resolved by agents without human help. Mm-hmm.
And then we move to the next stage, where in the contact center, actually we have AI helping the colleagues in the contact center, and increasing their productivity in terms of the way they help the clients that actually reach the contact center. And this is helping the teams by getting more efficiency. I think our colleagues measured, and we get around 15 to 20% more efficiency from this help, and more than 60% of the interactions with the clients are actually helped by these tools that they use in contact center.
So very, very powerful. Now back to my original question, just to understand, how did you decided what was the first project? Was it a need? Was it, how did you come to, let's try Q&A, automate that? What was the thought process behind?
I think that we wanted to have something that, if you go and take a look at the slides that you presented, and you had on the last page the 4 elements that can drive the need to do that. So our need was actually to help our clients get the support they need without increasing the team in the contact center, and that helped two problems. So first of all, we kept the cost stable because we didn't increase the team in the contact center, and with the same team we could cover more clients because our rate of growth on the clients has been tremendous in the last years. Only in the pandemics we increased by 40% in terms of asset side. The number of clients as well increased very much, and also increased the satisfaction of the clients by not having to wait to get in line and to access an agent and actually solve their problem by themselves.
So from that, what you said, it probably would be very costly, because for a bank, losing clients based on insufficient service.
Client satisfaction, cost saving.
Perfect. So that was back to how do you decide where you implement it. Now let's take a step further, because you named how now the journey is, once you did something and you saw success, you upgraded that kind of service to even a better service. But so how do you describe the process from first project to scalable implementation and actually building agents and allowing agents to do queries? How do you move from experimenting to making a business decision to have an AI-driven process?
I think it's a lot about trust. So with our clients, we had to gain their trust in order to use the tools, and we did that by testing them very thoroughly internally to make sure that the answer that they get, it's the right one. And then with the internal teams, it's about their trust that the tools that we want to implement are actually gonna help them going forward. And then this trust was built by I think, three, let's say, initiatives that we took. So first of all was training. Again, here we had support from Microsoft, and I think we had more than 200 sessions of training dedicated at various levels, from beginner to intermediary to advanced topics in terms of AI usage, where thousands of our colleagues participated. I mean, Banca Transilvania has, I think, 10,000 colleagues by now in the totality of the group. We had trainings that covered, I think, 3,000 colleagues that participated into them. So 1/3 of the colleagues participated into these trainings. And then the other thing that we did is we took time as management to discuss with our colleagues and to present our personal experiences from our own usage of the tools with our teams in order to show them how this can help them further in improving their work. And then the third thing that we did was to implement KPIs on AI usage, first at the level of the top management, and then at the level of N-1, and then further on within the teams in terms of usage of AI. I mean, in certain areas, we even went at the level of all the employees, and I'm talking here about the development teams that in this year have a very high target of, for example, software testing using via automated tools such as agents, because we cannot move forward with increased efficiency unless we start using these tools.
This is, you took my next question. My next question is going to be about how do you build trust? Because people and customers will not use your AI-driven tools unless they trust it. So you answered twofold. You answered training, and you answered management and KPIs, and how management, because we talked about it as well, is how dedicated and completely on board the management is, right? Can we spend a little bit time on that? Because in one of our other sessions, we had your HR leader presenting to us. I've never met before an HR leader so vested in deployment of AI. You would think that that's the last person who would be cheering on AI innovation, yet it is completely opposite. So describe to us who brought this topic back then when you started the first project, and how does the management look at it now? Now I know optimistically because you even deploying KPIs for all of the board members, all of the leadership. So is it something that it was a miracle and everybody said, yeah, let's just do this AI, or it was trust again based on the step approach that you were showing results that they said, okay, now I'm on board?
I mean, with HR, it's a very simple explanation. They were one of the first to implement the internal chatbots in 2018. We have, I think it was public information, AIDA. They even receive awards that actually is helping us with everything related to, let's say, paperwork. If you want to book a vacation time, if you want a certain form, if you want anything, you don't talk to anybody. You just enter the chatbot, you write there, and then you get the form, you get the vacation approved. I mean, the whole thing is via this chatbot. And I think Nevenka is very big fan, our HR manager is very big fan of this, because she saw the help that this can bring into her organization. Because to be honest with you, as HR persons, I don't think it's very interesting job to take requests for vacation for employees in order to approve them and to move it to the process. And in pandemic, we have had a lot of support to this tool when we had to issue certificates, because as a bank, we had to go to work, and because of lockdown, we had to be issued those forms that allowed you to actually move from home to the place of work, and it was done everything automatically, and then seeing that support that she can get with let's say, less advanced tools than the ones that you can do with Gen AI, drove her to be a big supporter of such initiatives. Now, for us as a management team, I think one of the things that it's very important with BT, and it's one of the let's say success factors, if you want to call it, for us as an organization, is the fact that we as a management team are working very well together. And if one of us discovers something and finds that there is an easier way to do some things, we're always sharing with our colleagues. And this sharing of technologies and very easy and efficient ways of doing things helped disseminate this, let's say, knowledge of the new technologies between us as a management team, and it helped us to personally experiment more, and then to take this message to our teams and to build this trust at the level of our teams.
You mentioned legislation. There is a lot of regulated industries. Bank is absolutely one of those. And the initial response to bringing agents into this environment and to automate and digitize and deploy artificial intelligence in the processes that are regulated, it's the first no from the clients. What is your response to that? Because you just described HR environment that is that has a strict legislation, but I'm sure you and your customers' relationship, there is many legislations that you have to adhere to. So you mentioned to me one project, maybe you can use it on currently, I don't know if you can talk about it, but maybe on that we can show how do you deal with customer data, etc.
So I think very important for an organization that is actually both listed and of critical importance as a bank is the fact that for us the AI Act is applicable. We cannot escape it. So once that came, it was very important to have a constructive dialogue with our colleagues from risk management and compliance in order to build, first of all, the framework that actually guides the whole implementation of AI at the level of the bank, supporting these the initiatives that we had on our agenda. And then after putting together this big framework, a very high level framework, we went a step further in creating a guide that helps our colleagues understand how they can start from experimenting with AI at the level of their own teams, and then take a project that is developed at the level of the teams to the enterprise level, and what steps they can do and what steps they should do respecting the legislation in that case, and what steps you can take where you think about a project that actually is designed to be at the level of the entire enterprise from the beginning, which is a little bit more, let's say, robust in terms of checking the boxes and respecting the legislation in terms of what data you can use, how do you interact with the clients, what you can do, what you cannot do in terms of how you use that data and so on and so forth. I mean, for us, there is a lot of experimentation at the level of the individual departments, and I can say it in finance. There are a lot of projects that help our colleagues and are of tremendous support for us, and this happens everywhere. It happens in the internal audit. I have my colleague Anne in the room with us, but also in legal, in marketing, in governance as well. people are experimenting. They are implementing tools that we find them useful. So, for example, with us in finance, we implemented sort of an IFRS chatbot because not all our colleagues are English speakers. So some of the team in finance, they're very good professionals, but they're not very proficient in English. And there is a lot of, let's say, knowledge with respect to IFRS, which is solely in English, including illustrative checklists and guidance and all kind of information. So we trained the chatbot on all these types of information, and then we gave our colleagues access to it, and they can ask questions in Romanian. And the chatbot will take a look at the information which is in English, and then they will prepare an answer which is entirely based in the knowledge base, not in I don't know, external sources of information, and they get tremendous help, which otherwise would have taken maybe hours
because
or days.
before only English speaker could leverage all
Yes.
the information, and I confirm I'm multilingual, and my prompts are literally from 3-4 languages combined, and it gives you answer. Yeah.
Yes.
So I agree. Can I ask you about, to summarize your learnings on the AI transformation journey? What are George's 3-5 learnings and lessons learned that you would like to share with the others?
So I think it's very important, number one, not to run away from it. I mean, if we think that it does not apply to us, it's not going to happen for our industry, I will not be affected by it, we're fooling ourselves. I don't like it. I heard this from somebody. You don't have to like it. You have to accept that it's reality, and you like it or you not like it, it's going to be affecting you. So you need to take action now. And second of all, for a regulated industry, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, you need to talk with your colleagues from risk management and compliance. You cannot avoid this. You need to start early and then talk to them, because otherwise you're going to have problems. If you're a smaller company that's not heavily regulated, you can experiment maybe more and do a lot of, let's say, color outside the box, if you want to name it, but not for a regulated company. Third of all, train your people. Train your people, allow them to experiment. Allow them to actually play and actually implement small things that will help them to have this trust that we talked about with respect to AI. Fourth, if you want to call it, implement KPIs in order to track it. And if you talk about KPIs, I mean, we can talk about and I don't know, the classical ones that normally CFOs are talking about, which is like increase in revenues, decrease in costs, decrease in those nice cost-income ratios that we all love and our investors are grilling us on. But also you have to keep in mind other types of KPIs which are equally important, which are related to customer satisfaction, which again, it will drive maybe an increase in revenues in a later stage, but it's not immediately measurable, but it's very important. So, and then you can take a look at employee satisfaction, and then you will find out that a lot of these initiatives will not actually reduce at the initial stage the cost, but actually will allow the colleagues to be more efficient, maybe not spend that much time on certain tasks and allocate more time on more important tasks and automate some of the more, you had it on the last slide, the repetitive things that are happening, right, and create this internal satisfaction that will make them be more efficient and more productive, and they can do more work. And then if you think about it, the fifth thing that I want to mention is actually, if you find something that actually is important and a lot of your employees and internal staff are appreciated, take it to the level of the enterprise. Or find a project that you want to do at the level of the enterprise from the beginning, and then allocate resources to do it. Here, for us as a bank, the more important ones are in the back office area and in the risk management area, which are a little bit easier to track and to manage when we have tremendous initiatives, or in finance, if you want to call it. And these projects need, and I think our second speaker had a very important thing mentioned on her slides when she talked about implementing AI. She said that 80% of the success is coming from the fact that actually when implementing AI, you don't actually decorate with AI a current process. You need to transform that process. You need to actually take a process, break it down, and take advantage of the fact that using AI, you can do it in a different way. Because if you just put AI on top of it, it's not going to bring you those great savings or improvements that you maybe expect them. So these are my...
So allow me to re-articulate George's 5, yeah? Start, don't wait. Best partner in your company is compliance, to start with, yeah, and always check. Train, and enable access to AI and to training and being innovative to your employees. KPIs from the board down. And scale. You must define the ones that impact the whole enterprise, right?
Yeah. And here it's very important to rethink the process. Don't just apply AI. Rethink the process. I can give you an example with the invoicing. I mean, I think 2 years ago when e-invoicing was introduced in Romania, I was the only one in the company that was happy. Everybody was concerned that this is coming, we have to change things. And I said, I'm happy. And everybody asked me, why are you happy? And I said, we have been trying for 2 years in order to get the information from the invoices into data. OCR doesn't work very well. I mean, didn't work very well. Now it's working better because now it's GenAI enhanced. But back then it was a problem. And I said, now I'll get the information in the invoices with a format that actually I can import into my database, and I can take it automatically to the whole approval process without minding anything. Because an invoice that has to come through e-invoice, if it's not there, it doesn't exist. You know very well. I mean, you may want to issue an invoice in PDF, but it doesn't work like that. But not all invoices are coming through the invoice. I mean, there is a small percentage of invoices that are not coming from it. So in order to actually take and benefit from this automation that we put on top of the invoices that comes through the e-invoicing initiative, we had to take the process for the other invoices and break it down and prepare it so that we get the data in the same format. Because we have a format that's already used. Yes. So what we did is we took the other types of invoices and then we applied a process to them that actually will create them in the same format that we'll be using for automation that we have for the other types of invoices. So
perfect. Look, thank you so much. I want to end up on a personal note. As we started on a personal note, let's end up on a personal note. Let's think about, don't name names, but functionality of an AI that you personally love, cannot live without. I don't know. I mean, you can use external one, like personal one, like I'm addicted to sports equipment and life quality, sleep quality, so I use a lot of these tools, but also I have my work favorite. So what's your favorite?
I think for me, personal favorite in the enterprise environment is like the researcher in Copilot, because it's very powerful. And I'm eagerly...
I don't think people can have an understanding. It's not like logging in a request into standard chat. No. It gives you PhD thesis-like.
And you have to have patience Because it takes a long
It
time.
takes a long time because it goes through materials, and so it's not your query that you put in. If I go presenting, I do it week in advance to run this query, and you get diploma thesis, the most relevant information based on the more information you can query. Example, I was preparing for an energy conference, very, very detailed conference, right? So, and I want it to be relevant to Slovakia. So this is where I would use researcher on how much energy does Slovakia produce. If they signed with Donald Trump for a new reactor, what would that implement? And then how is it relate to AI and capacity for AI? How does that translate to GDP? So it's so powerful that you could never reason like that. So that's researcher. I agree. That's my favorite as well.
It's giving you also references so that you can check that it doesn't hallucinate if you want to go into very deep detail. But after 2 times using, you're going to give up because it doesn't hallucinate. And then the second favorite, and I'm waiting for it to be restricted to the tenant in EU, is co-work. I mean, I'm using it.
Co-work.
Yes, I'm using it at home. I'm eagerly waiting to use it in the enterprise environment.
Fantastic. I would like to thank you very much for being a great client. When I hear you speaking, it's so much what we see being reported as the best practice for the frontier companies. So thank you for being a frontier company or frontier firm in Romania. We appreciate the collaboration, and thank you very much for sharing with us your dedication to make your company better with AI. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. And